If you have been thinking about moving into an HOA-based community, i.e. new construction, then I'm going to share 4 things that I want you to be aware of so that you're not shocked and prepared for that transition. So number 1 is that HOA fees often increase. So if you don't know what an HOA is, it's a homeowners association, and a lot of new construction communities actually are a part of an HOA, whether it's actually new or not, but it's very often for new homes to be in an HOA. And so every year as an HOA community, each homeowner has to pay fees. We have to pay our dues, and they're due annually, often at the end of the year, going into the beginning of the year. And depending on how many amenities you have, your HOA can be super expensive, or if you don't have a lot of amenities, it can be as low as maybe $100, so that's something you want to be aware of, and you want to add that into your monthly payment. But just know that it's going to increase, and every HOA has their own kind of timeline of when that happens. So whatever you pay when you move in, it's likely going to have increased by the time you sell the home and move out. And so I just want you to be prepared for that. Number 2 is that you do have to adhere to the rules that are in the HOA guideline. So some HOAs are a lot more stricter than mine. I think mine is pretty laxed, as long as you maintain the property. And when I say maintain the property, I'm going to give you an example of something that I've gotten in trouble for. So they are very adamant about lawn care. So I've received a couple of messages about my trim, like with the edges of my lawn not being to a certain level. I guess they had risen too much. I hadn't had lawn care in a while, and so they said that I needed to basically get that together. And I didn't get fined or anything, but I guess if I didn't take care of it, they likely could have fined me. So that's an example of something pretty dumb, but also it's the reason that these homes sell so quickly is because people like the curb appeal. Curb appeal matters. People are always buying and selling. So in order for them to actually sell, everybody has to follow the same rules. So if you're someone who doesn't like that, then it might not be great for you. But for me, I don't mind that because I know it's going to be easier for me to sell my home when it's time, because we all have to follow the same rules. And we're going to do our lawns anyway. So they're just rushing you to do it when you feel like it's not a priority. Number 3 is that some HOA communities do not allow short-term rentals. So short-term rentals can be Airbnb, it can be VRBO or Verbo, whatever they call it. And these things usually invite people to stay in your home, often for 30 days or less. So this hasn't been my experience, but I have a friend who lives in another community, and she has since rented out her house, and she's put it on Airbnb, and she received a letter just like I did about my lawn, basically telling her that she's not allowed to rent out her home for anything less than 30 days. So she has 2 options now. One is to restrict people from staying less than 30 days, so adjusting her Airbnb. She can also rent to, more midterm people, maybe people that are coming down here and wanting to just explore for a few months. She can do traveling nurses. Just have a little more long-term, or she can just have a traditional tenant where they're just paying her rent every month. So again, these are questions that you want to make sure that you ask your HOA. I made sure to ask that I can kind of rent out my place. My plan was never Airbnb to begin with, but it was something that I wanted to make sure that I can do. So when they give you that information, make sure you read it and ask questions. And if it doesn't fit what you envision for your future, then it might not be the best opportunity for you, and that's okay. And then number 4 is that you cannot adjust the structure of your home. So thankfully, none of us have had this experience, but I know of someone that wanted to add a pool to their backyard. A small little pool, but a pool, I guess we should call it a jacuzzi. Call it a jacuzzi, and HOA didn't approve that. So they had already basically paid whoever you pay to come out and inspect the land and make sure that everything is good. And ultimately it was nope, can't do that. So they had wasted their money basically looking into these jacuzzis, having someone come out and verify the square footage and all that kind of stuff, because the HOA ultimately denied it. So it was a waste of money on their end and a waste of effort essentially of everyone else that was involved. So if you know that you have a big backyard and you know that you want to add a a shed in the back and these kind of things, then HOA communities likely aren't the best for you, because the goal with these communities is to maintain consistency. The homes are very much alike, and anything that disturbs that structure is essentially against the law, against their rules, and can get you removed from the property. So just to recap, the 4 kind of new construction woes that I wasn't aware of that I want you to be aware of is, number 1, HOA fees, which are homeowners association fees, will increase. Now, how often they decrease is at the discretion of your HOA, but it's something that I don't want you to be shocked about. Number 2 is that you must adhere to the rules in your bylaws. When you move in and when you sign your contracts, you'll receive a copy of those, and I strongly encourage you to read over them with a fine-tooth comb and ask any questions that you have, and make sure that what you envision for your property and for your future align with what this HOA's rules are. And again, the example for me was like the lawn care and the trimming of my edges on a consistent basis. You know, I have someone that's doing that recurringly now. 3 is that some HOA communities do not allow short-term rentals. And this is something that you want to make sure you ask questions about. If your plan in the future is to do Airbnb and VRBO verbal, then, you know, if your community requires people to be there for at least 30 days, then it might not be the best place for you. My plan, like I said, and like I've reiterated, is that I plan to do traveling nursing, and that's 3 to 6 months at a time. So even if I did have that rule, I'm already like in line with it. So that's something you want to consider and ask questions about. And then number 4 is that you can't make any adjustments to the structure of the home. So that can be adding a pool, jacuzzi, a shed in the background, in the backyard. Like those things, depending on where you live, may be prohibited. So you want to make sure that you ask these questions and think of every possible, you know, opportunity to make sure that this is the right purchase for you and this is the right decision for you. So let me know if any of these shocked you in the comments below. Let me know if you have more questions about new construction and homeownership based communities, and make sure you check out my other video where I actually talk about the pros of HOA based communities and new construction. So thank you for watching. Please like the video, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one.